So, all right. So, I looked at all of my my notes and all of my storyboards and all of my character designs, and this is the last character we had to work on. This is the second mother character. So, this particular character we worked on before. As you can see, it doesn't have a left side face, and also we had to make mouths for this character. But since we're going to be using Moho, if you guys recall, we had talked about this particular character and how it will be affected by Moho in terms of the design and how we can actually make larger lips than what you see here on this face. So as you can see, the face is it's fairly simple, but the mouth design is really small. And so there's two problems with this. One is that it won't read very well in animation if I don't give this mouth some kind of detail of some sort. It's too small if I open it to show like teeth and all that kind of stuff, because it's literally, my fingernail is right next to it. You can see how small it is. So trying to sculpt these faces, or the mouths on these faces, is going to be pretty tough. So the plan is to make larger lips and then put them on this face as a layer. So Moho accepts. My cat wants to play. He's trying to give me his cat toy. So Moho allows you to import layers from Photoshop. So if you have, for example, a layer which is the hair, a layer which is the face, a layer which is the body, a layer which is the arm, a layer which is the hands, you can essentially animate this by sliding everything around. And also with the replacement faces, what you do is one layer would be a certain mouth shape, another layer would be another mouth shape, and so on and so on. And then you only make visible the mouth shape that you want to be visible for that frame. So it's kind of a interesting system. Like I said, I've never actually animated with Moho before. It'll be my first time when I get started on that. But I'm excited to try it. I know I've seen, who was it? Someone posted on Facebook recently. They actually used Moho to make a hybrid of a 2D character with a three-dimensional head like this. Really interesting, so people are trying to experiment with it. So we're kind of breaking new ground, I guess you could say, with that program. And so what we had to do is we had to make this face, we had to make it face in one direction. So let's say facing left, to go with the left-facing body here. That's the first thing. And then the second thing is I'm going to remove the mouth on here and the eyebrows too. I think the eyebrows will be a separate layer, definitely, and animated. So let's see here. Oh, that's my sister. She's calling. Well, I'll talk to her later. So that's the plan anyway. So the eyebrows will be on a separate layer, the mouth will be a separate layer, and we're going to just see how things turn out in that program. Now, if things don't really work well in that program for any reason, which I don't really think that there'll be a problem, but there is a problem, we can always just animate this traditionally. We can just take this and use like Stop Motion Pro or Dragon Frame or whatever. I don't know what you guys are using out there for your software, but those are the two main options people use. And this. So yeah. Anyways, so I've got some orange clay. Now, this is really greasy because it's been sitting here. This is a brand new pack, or brand old pack, but brand freshly opened old pack of Avalon clay, and you can see that the oil's kind of seeped out of the clay itself, and that happens when the clay gets kind of old. Things tend to break down and decay, and that's what happens with this. But actually, it's not considered a bad thing with clay. It actually means that the clay is completely saturated with oil to the point where excess oil is actually seeping out of the surface. So it's completely absorbed, and So when you animate this kind of clay, it tends to animate in a very smooth way compared to clay that's actually brand new. So if you buy a pack of clay, let's say in Michael's craft stores or someplace like that, if it's Van Aken clay specifically, it will be a little bit crumbly, Once the oils kind of propagate through the clay, you'll find that it works better. So right now I'm just trying to get the volume of clay about the same as this face here. And that's pretty close to the same volume of clay, so that's good. So I am going to wipe this oil off my hands. It does tend to get a bit messy. So I always keep paper towels. One of the things that I do, like if you go to a restaurant and they give you a big stack of paper napkins like this, most people just leave them on the table. I take them home and use them. The restaurant staff will just throw them away because they figure, you might have sneezed on it or something, so they won't put this back in their in their little dispenser, for paper towels and stuff. So yeah, it's like free anyway, right? So save some money. I'm just really random tonight, man. My brain is going a little bit haywire, I think, with topics. But anyways, so what are you guys talking about here? So Janet is saying about the Solo movie that she's afraid to read reviews because some are by Disney to be good. Oh, I see. You're thinking that Disney wrote some reviews. I've heard mixed reviews about the film. So Solo's been out for a little while, and so a lot of people on my friends list on Facebook have made comments about it. Some have said that it's better than The Last Jedi. One of my friends, actually I think it was Ron Cole, who used to visit here often. He's a stop motion animator and really good guy, and he was saying that it was almost as good as Empire Strikes Back. So if that's the case, that's pretty amazing. I don't know if he's being very enthusiastic or if he, because like sometimes like I'll see a movie and the first time I view it, I'm like, oh, that's really cool, and then the second time I watch it, I sort of absorb more that way. Like the second viewing, you're not kind of starstruck by it's a Star Wars movie and it's exciting, you know what I mean? So sometimes I'll watch a movie twice and I'll like it less on the second viewing. But I thought Rogue One was one of my... I thought Rogue One was comparable to Empire in some ways, there are parts I didn't like, but I really enjoyed how they put everything together and tied, Star Wars with the characters in between episode, what is it, 4 and 5? What is it? Rogue One is like 4.5, episode 4.5 or something. But I thought Rogue One was pretty good. So Weeby says I liked it, the movie, and Danny Glover mimicked Billy D really well. Donald, not Danny. Ah, yeah, yep. That's pretty cool. I mean, I only know the only time I've seen him is in that video about This Is America, So when I go to see the film, that's probably all I'm going to think about. Is that one video. Okay, so we've got... It's going to be kind of easy to do this character because I just got to make different eyebrow expressions and different mouth shapes. Whereas like with the other characters, like this one here, you know, I had to actually re-sculpt the mouth for each head. So this one is much more simple. But we should not skimp on making her look nice. So let's see here. So I got to put some eyeballs in her head. Like that. Now this one here, I put black clay in her eyeball sockets. I don't know if I like that. I think for consistency's sake, I might paint that in there as opposed to the clay. So I'm going to take these out of here. I'm going to redo that. I have to clean these eyeballs up a bit. Something like this. That looks a bit scary, but we're going to make it look good. Take off her eyebrows. Yeah. See, that's the bad part. Once you put the eyebrows on, if they sit on there for too long, the clay will tend to tends to sort of melt together the two parts. So if you do make a puppet and you want them to, and you want to animate it, let's say, and it's going to be a while, let's say a couple of months or something, like with what we're doing, you know, we're making all these characters first, which takes a long time, and then we're going to animate them at the last moment. It's kind of, clay is a bit dirty here, and I have to scrape it clean. But you want to, you definitely don't want to add like eyebrows and any details like that that are going to be moved around later on. Because if you do, when it comes time to animate, just like what I showed you, you can see that well, I don't know if you guys noticed, but there was still like black clay, like smudges where those eyebrows were. So it's not very nice to look at. So I'm going to smooth this up. And we're going to add those eyeballs back in there. That's better. Okay, so let's go like this. There. Gonna make them more oval shape. Give her a little bit more character than just round dots. I'll do the same with this one. Make sure that the eyes are slightly oval shaped. So most of her expressions will, just like I say, will be her eyebrows and her lips. And so we could just sort of sculpt. So we got to make hair as well for this particular angle. So I'm thinking, you know, kind of coming like this down. Let me see here. So this is the hair for this side. It's going to sit like this, roughly. So this one will have to have hair which comes down to the same distance So something like this. So we'll just kind of scribe on the clay here where we want it. And we'll get the thickness about the same. And I've got some of that clay color mixed up already. I have extra for her hair. So when I put this in the box of clay, I didn't separate the colors, so I'm going to scrape off all these other colors that rubbed off onto this piece. Get rid of that. Put it in my little clay scrap pile over here. So if you have clay scraps like this, one of the things that you could do always is you could save the scraps, and you know, pieces like this, it adds up over time, and you can use it underneath your character's body and use it as a filler, you know, so you don't have to use nice clean clay. I mean, even if it's dirty, if it's different colors and everything, if you cover it up with your fresh clay, you never even see it, and saves you a bit of money and some resources. And it might sound silly, but sometimes when you use clay, let's say for a body like this, if you made a lot of these and you use the other clay, the scrap clay underneath, the colors that you mix up go farther, you know, so there's less mixing too. So there's a lot of benefits to it. It's not just let me see here. So Hoserloo says Rogue One was really good. I agree. And Janet says I always read spoilers, so I watch movies as a skeptic. Ah, okay. So let me see here now. So this here is this thick, her other piece of hair. I think what I did with this was I rolled it through my pasta roller here and I folded it over to make that thickness because it's pretty even. So I'm gonna move my mic a bit. Hopefully that doesn't blast you guys when I do that. And set this thing on 1. Oh, sorry. Just hit my mic. Alright, so I've rolled it through. And if I fold it over, it should be, in theory, same thickness. Yep. Alright, so that's what I did. Okay, so I'm going to be taking this and I'm going to take another piece and roll it through. I want it to be big so I can sort of cut it and make it large, just to give me more to work with. Alright, so you can see here the thickness, roughly the same thickness as that. So when I go through here with my knife, all the edges will clean up pretty nicely. So, I think pretty much what I'll do is, since this is like a template, if she turns her head to the side, technically the top part of the hair will be the same. So the only real difference will be that it will be thicker to one side. So I'm going to just kind of go like this. In fact, I can just kind of scribe it like that. And this is roughly what it's going to look like. kind of like making cookies. Alright, put that aside. Let's gonna make this a little bit thinner. It's weird that it seems to be thicker than this. Alright. Not a problem, no? Yeah, I think I made it a bit too thick. So anyways, yeah, on so Sunday I'll watch the Solo movie. I don't know if it's any good. I mean, if people are just, you know, seems the reviews are kind of mixed, you know. It's like people are saying it was a good film, but personally I'm not like super excited about it, you know. I'm not like, oh, I can't wait to see it. I've been waiting so long, you know. It's not like that. It's just kind of like, all right, it's another film. I hope it's not as bad as the last one. Okay, so I think with this, see, I'll probably have to add a little piece of hair like this to the side of her head on this layer. And technically, let me see here. So, since this part of the face won't be removed as a replacement, I could actually sculpt this hair directly onto this. I think that's what I'm going to do. Because like with the others that are replacement heads, you know, the full face is replaced, I can't do this. But with this, I can. So let's stick it down. First, let me make sure that the shape looks correct before I do that. Yeah, so I can actually trim this down a bit. It's a little bit thick right here. So I can cut that down. Oh, you know what? Got an idea. So I'm going to actually add a little piece like this right in the back. That comes down. I think that would look pretty good like that. Yeah, that's way better that way. Okay, so that's settled. So not just like this. This will look pretty cool, I think. Kind of come behind like this. Yep, way better. Okay. And then, so like I said, I think that this is a bit too thick or thick of a line up top here. So I'm going to kind of trim this just a tad. See to where? Maybe about here. So let's see. So Janet says, Mark, before you opened channel, you was not afraid about haters. Well, sometimes, yeah, sometimes. I mean, strangely, our channel doesn't get a lot of hate. I mean, I think it's because most of the people here are, you know, it's such a niche, you know, like not too many people do stop motion, so it's kind of like, I think I'm just kind of too obscure, maybe. I mean, we've had some haters, but it's been really few and far between. The only time I really ran into problems was when I had I made a Twitch channel for my son, so he could play video games on Twitch, and he became a target, you know, because he's so young, and so people were sort of spamming the chat with, you know, Hitler and all kinds of crazy stuff. And jokes about him and just like total hate. And it's like, whatever. But yeah, I think I've kind of told that story before, because we did have, they tried to SWAT us, which is where you have, oops, where you have the police come to your house and they like break the door down and point guns at you and everything. So, you know, we've had that. I had that once, but the police evidently were pretty smart about it, and they ignored it, I guess. But they came by the next day just to check, and came through with, you know, with guns and asked questions and stuff like that, and asked if we had any weapons, and I knew exactly when they came. I'm like, I know why you're here, you know. I know exactly why you're here, because the day before we were spammed, and evidently while we were live broadcasting, it was a Minecraft game that we were broadcasting, and let me move my mic over here so you guys can hear me better. While we were broadcasting, you know, I guess they anticipated that they can get the SWAT team to our house and watch them break the door down live, you know. So it's entertainment for them, for whoever they were. And so I just, from then on, I don't really like put my face on the camera and all that kind of stuff, and because, you know, my camera is facing down, for example, here, and I don't anticipate that people will try to swat me because they can't see anything, you know, they can't get their kicks. But who knows? I mean, yeah, it could definitely happen again, even on my channel now. Okay, so here is the tool I used to put the lines in the hair, or make the hairlines. So this is a customized tool that I built with a brass rod, and what I did is I sort of curved it slightly. You can see the curve, maybe. This thing will focus. See here, so you can kind of see the curve. So I bent it a bit, and then what I did is I took a file and I kind of made a boat shape to a point. And so this, unfortunately, this web camera is probably not going to see it. I wish I could, maybe it will. There we go. So you can see the shape that I used, and this part here is the pointed sort of boat shape. So this would be like the underside. So what I do is I just take it and I go over the clay in the direction of the hair, and I can make lines. So this is how I, you know, detail hair. You can add wrinkles with this. So you can see, hopefully, let me see, you can see sort of the effect of what it looks like this. Just go on here like that and kind of slowly. So, you know, you don't have to like be perfect about it. In fact, it's kind of better not to be perfect. I don't want to make all these lines perfectly parallel and that kind of thing. So just going to kind of go quickly over it and see. That's the effect. It's kind of neat. I mean, a lot of sculptors always make custom tools. You know, it's hard to really get what you want with just one tool. And this is one tool that I always kind of go back to. So I'll just kind of get in here. I don't want to overdo it. I just want to kind of get that hair texture and have it recognizable as hair, you know. Not trying to be super perfect. And I don't want it to be perfect either. I mean, I want it to be kind of like that. Okay, so I'm gonna stick this down as well. Let me see here. Her hair, her little flower back in her hair. Oops. It's a defective flower, but that's okay. I'm okay with that. I don't want it to be perfect. And I will probably use this and put it on here. So when I photograph this, I had to, you know, the head turns, but this will be reversed in Photoshop, this particular head. If that makes sense. So that we can have a left-right view. And so when I reverse it, I'll have to put the flower on the opposite side. So I'm not going to permanently attach a flower to her hair here. So we need to paint these eyes, and let me see, I've got a half plastic Easter egg shell here, and some of my alcohol. I'm going to put some in this shell. I don't need a lot because I'm just doing these 4 little eyeballs. And we've got our Stewart Simple Black and an old CD. So I'm going to put a little drop on here. All we need is a drop. Got my paintbrush. Let's see if it's clean first. I'm going to clean it. I'm going to make the character messed up and dirty, so I'll kind of wet it just a bit. Oops. Okay. You know, let me just clean my hands real quick here. And then wipe my hands off. Because usually, like, for example, I just picked up this brush which had dust on it. You gotta be really careful about that, because then you'll transfer that dust to your character, and then it's a real hassle to clean. So, okay. I think we're ready to paint it. Oop. Her hair's coming off. Let's take it off. So 1 drop of black paint is all you need for stuff that's this tiny. Oop. So Janet says, a few years ago, some people on forum hate my face and voice. Really? Usually people that hate on others don't like themselves, and so they're just trying to, like, make themselves feel better. And that's really what it comes down to. So we got a couple of eyes painted. This one here I need to just touch up a little bit. It's almost like you need to warm up your painting skills. Like, you gotta do a little bit of painting before you really get the hang of it. It takes like, you know, a minute or so before your brain clicks in and goes, oh, this is the way you do it. Oh. Yeah, my son is inviting me to play Minecraft on Xbox. It pops up on my computer. He really loves that game. It's kind of weird that he hasn't, you know, outgrown it or anything. He still likes it for... He's been playing that for a few years. I don't know if you guys have ever played Minecraft before, if you have kids or anything, or if you just play it for fun yourself. But my son and I will build stuff together in worlds and everything. That's one of the things he always wants me to do with him, is to play Minecraft. So they came out with this update where you can... There we go. It's going to look pretty good. Where you can play on a PC and you can play with people that have an Xbox and I think a PlayStation as well. I think it's all, and maybe even on mobile. So it's pretty cool that they finally did that, because it opens up a lot of doors for people to play with each other. Oof. Excuse me. Alright, let's see what time it is. 8:38. Okay, very cool. Still got some more time. So far, so good. So now this character has little cheeks, little rosy cheeks, like she's put makeup on. So I'm gonna add the little cheeks to her face. But I had to remove this mouth because that's what we're going to be making in larger scale. So let's put this on here. And then one over on the side, which will be a little bit oblong because it's got that perspective thing going on. Like that. I don't really know what I did to her face here, why it's got this line. So let me just kind of... Well, let's take the mouth off. Oop. Oh, I can tell you guys what I did. Oh. So Janet says... Soon I will open channel, and I worried what if they come back or even worse. I don't know. I don't know, Janet. You can try it. I mean, there's some people that are not mean. But yeah, the internet is a pretty cold-hearted place. It really is. Can be pretty hostile. I think our president is a good example of that. You know, it's just lots of craziness, lies, hate. It's kind of funny to me in a way. I mean, some of the stuff that people say, but yeah, it's not always a pretty place for sure. And there's nothing wrong with avoiding, you know, going online and posting your stuff. In fact, it's probably, in some ways, it's better not to, you know, like, if you want to be left alone, for sure. But I think if you have a skill or something, that's a different story. I think people that if they have a skill, they should share it. Kind of like that's their duty, you know, because if you don't share what you've got, what's the point of it, you know? I don't know. You can't keep everything to yourself, you know. I mean, especially when you can, change people, like change their ability to, like to help them learn things, to inspire them, that kind of thing. And even if you're not that great of a skilled person, there's always somebody that's going to be less skilled than you. So, like, for example, my son loves to watch videos that I look at on YouTube, and he thinks it's like, wow, this is the funniest, coolest video, and it's like just a stick man doing something weird. And it's edited, or they add funny sound effects, you know what I mean? So it's like, you never know who you're going to impress. And then there's people that, like, for example, that don't even watch this channel because they think that my work is probably, junk. And they think, oh man, his sculpting is horrible, He can't sculpt. He sounds like Kermit the Frog or something, because my voice is pretty unique, right? So, there's people that will avoid you, and that's okay too. Just I think Clay Mara or Tamarami said something about that. It's not really about trying to get everybody to follow you and all that, but to sort of have a core group of people that like what you do, and you can create relationships and stuff like that. Okay, so now with her lips, I think I'm gonna just make a, let me see here. So I could probably make one lip set for one mouth or one facial pose and translate that into both of them without having to worry about the head turning and stuff. I think that will be fine. So the next question is, what sort of mouth positions do I need? So let's start with a neutral. Let's just go with the lips as a base to follow. So a neutral position, we're just going to have like a straight line across. I think we'll kind of stay simple. So obviously these would be giant lips if I added it to her face. I mean, of course, unless she's a Kardashian, then maybe that would be normal, right? Kardashian 2.0 here. So, but this is a good scale for me to sculpt in. Like, I can get at least enough detail on the face, and I can get different expressions on these lips at this size. So when I photograph these, I can just copy, take that as a layer, cut all the information around it out. I'll probably take a green screen. I don't know. Actually, I might not do that. I'll probably put this on a neutral gray cardboard that I have, or paper that I have in a roll, and I'll probably photograph these on that, because that will give me a fairly even lighting and stuff. If I have anything that's too bright behind these, it might wash out all the details and colors with my camera. Anyway, I have to experiment with that. I'm not entirely sure. But, yeah, just never mind. Never mind, everybody. Sometimes my brain just goes in different directions. So, I'm going to have to sculpt like a smile. So, this kind of reminds me of those old Tang videos. I don't know if you guys, in America, we had these Tang characters that Will Vinton used to sculpt, and the characters were just lips with two arms with little hands at the ends, and two legs that were just noodles, and then sneakers. And they used to have, I don't know how many different commercials they made with those Tang guys. I'm thinking maybe 5 or 6. And they were pretty awesome characters. They gave the voice acting that they used with them they were really cool guys, and either they were cool or they were kind of comical. And they were promoting, Tang. Tang is like a powdered drink, so you can have it in, cherry or orange or whatever, and you mix it up with just a plain glass of water and some ice, if you want to make it cold. Okay, so like I say, I'm not worried about the scale of these, so I don't care if this is too big and this is smaller. It's totally fine. These will be all scaled and put in place without any problems. Now the next one I can do is like a U shape, like surprised or shocked. Let's see. Oh, yeah, I wish I had. No, that's okay. I think I'll make it a bit deep, just so that there's a nice deep shadow there and it reads well. I don't want to make that hole too shallow. Like a ooh, maybe we can do kind of. We have to have an angry one too, so we'll go with angry. That's what we'll do next. And for the teeth, I think I'll just use some ivory clay and so for angry, kind of give this sort of a shape. Kind of hollow it out. It's kind of warm in the room that I'm in right now, so this clay is super soft. It's a little bit hard to sculpt when it's mushy, but I'll try my best. So I need to have a nice hollowed out area for the teeth. This. Tang was kind of gross. Janet, I don't really watch sports. I don't really watch it. I'm not really into baseball or football or anything like that. So I have not seen anything like that. And a whiskey says you should try using the same color clay in back when you take the photos, so when you cut out the back color, the edges will blend nice. That's a good idea. Well, at least it'll blend nice. Yeah, I can see what you're saying. So like where the neck is and stuff, or underneath the head here. With this part, yeah, that would work. Let's see here. It's gonna be kind of weird. My brush at. Let me first clean off this brush. I don't want to get any strange hairs or dust on this, so is that clean? Yeah, okay. Oh, that smushed part of it, see that? Oh, yeah, this is pretty hard to sculpt it when it's this mushy. One of the things that you could do, by the way, if you guys are watching and you're wondering, like, is there a solution when your clay is mushy? And that solution is to put it in the freezer for a bit and let it cool off, and it will firm up a bit. And the reason you want to do that is particularly for details, like if you have teeth and things like that, which have to be really precise, or or wrinkles or things like that. Or if you just don't want the clay kind of smushing around as you... It's even sticking to my fingers. If you don't want the clay kind of smushing on you, like it is here a bit, well, I'm going to press it on this cardboard to flatten it out, and that will hopefully stabilize it. Also, my hands won't be on it, which means it won't be as warm. Yeah, it's really soft. Well, the next thing is to put teeth in here, so I'm going to do that. And I'm not really worried about the shape yet, but when the teeth are in there, we have to definitely make it look like she's angry. That's right, Tang was kind of gritty, wasn't it? You know, that's the weird thing about that, how like the sugar will kind of harden in little clumps like that, especially if it's in the summertime and it's humid and hot, you know. Everything gets gritty, yeah. Oh, I don't know about that. I don't know about that, Janet. So, no game Detroit becomes human. I don't know about that at all. Yeah, I don't always keep up with games too much. I like, we've got virtual reality, and it's pretty cool. I got the Oculus, and I convinced my brother-in-law to buy one because their kids, well, one of my nephews is a bit chubby, you know, he's kind of fat. And partly it's because they eat a lot of ice cream. They're always eating ice cream every time I go to their house, which is, you know, that's got a ton of calories. It's like if you just eat a cup of ice cream, it's like eating a hamburger in terms of calories. You know, it's a lot. Essentially, any kind of dairy products are, it's like liquid protein, you know. Because little cows, what they do is they need to grow really fast, and so there's a lot of calories, a lot of fat. Fat's not really bad for you or anything, but you can yourself become fat if you have too much of it. And so I let them play. There's a game called Beat Saber, which is like you have two lightsabers, and it's not Star Wars or anything, but they're like lightsabers, and you gotta chop musical blocks that are in time with the beat of a song, and it's really fun. And when it first came out, I played it quite a bit in my off time, just because it's so cool. I mean, you get to chop stuff up with lightsabers. How much cooler is a game than that? So I did play that a bit, and I haven't had time recently to really play it. But my brother-in-law tried it, and my nephews tried it, and they all loved it, and they worked up a sweat. They were getting really huffing and puffing, and for being such young kids, to be that out of shape is not good. So, anytime I would buy a game or anything, I would say, hey, you gotta try this game out. And there's also like a Google Tilt Brush, which is it's a game. It's not a game, but it's an application where you can paint and stuff in virtual reality. So you're painting in a three-dimensional space. It's really, really neat. So I played that for a bit, and then there's also Oculus Medium, which is for sculpting. But my nephew really likes to be creative, and so he likes the Google Tilt Brush program. And then my brother-in-law, who's a little bit older than me, he played elven assassin, which is an archery kind of thing where you shoot orcs. And these orcs they come out of a cave or an entrance or whatever, and they walk across the map in front of you, and if they make it to the castle entrance and get past the door, you lose if so many get past there, So here's the teeth so far. Let me see. Oh. Focus. Focus. Yeah, it's kind of focused. It's going to be the kind of angry expression here. But some of the games like that are pretty cool, and you can play them with your friends over the internet. So in virtual reality, you can be in a virtual space with your friends and team up and all that kind of stuff. And it's kind of like you're in the same room with them with virtual reality. You have like a real presence. There's a feeling of being with somebody else that's in front of you when even though they might just be like a head with hands moving around. It still feels like there's somebody there. So it's really an interesting experience, and you don't really look at video games the same way after you've played virtual reality games. Let's see, what time is it here? Oh man, it's already time to end already. All right, so let's do one more mouse shape. Let's do like a sad expression, because we've got angry, smiling, neutral, shocked. Now let's go with like a sad face. So again, not worried about scale with the mouths. I don't care if they're bigger, smaller. All this will be resized in Photoshop. See. Oof, man, this clay is really soft. It's so hard to sculpt things this small. This is exactly why I was saying before with the lips being this size. This is about 10 times larger, but trying to sculpt them in that size would be really tough. To think of it, you know what? I do need to sculpt this little guy. Did I sculpt him already? I don't think I did. No, I didn't sculpt him. I sculpted the other babies. What does this mean? That means this isn't the last character. I've lied. Oh, man. Alright. So I goofed up. I thought I already sculpted this guy here. I could have sworn I did. I'm gonna have to look in my box later. Maybe I've got him hidden somewhere inside there. Or maybe it was because I sculpted so many of the other baby heads. But that's okay. So next week we'll sculpt this guy. This little kid. He's actually an important character in the film. This character here is the kid who doesn't have any preconceived notions about other people and just sees everybody for who they are and not because of politics and race and all that kind of stuff. So he's an important character. We should probably add him in there, because if not, we won't have a story. Oh, hey, what's going on, Randy? So Randy says, I see that the episode is labeled Final Puppet. Will you begin animating soon? Well, yeah, I lied, Randy. I fooled you guys. Actually, that was my intention all along. I wanted to, yeah, it's a early April Fool's joke. That's what it is. Yeah. Did I fool ya? Oh, yeah, that's alright. Well, it has been a long week for me, so I was taking some Ambien. If you guys know the current events, you might find it funny. But all right, yeah, nah, I shouldn't joke. All right, let's see what time. I'm gonna do one more face. So we got sad, angry. I think we should do like a smile with teeth, like an open smile. Just one more. All right. Yeah, next week. The final puppet. It's not just the final puppet. It's the final puppet. Yeah, I'll definitely change the title when I'm done. Gonna change the title because I lied. Oh, I've committed a mortal sin. Alright, so open smile. So I think what I'll do is move some of this clay. Yeah, it's been a pretty long day for me. I've been working on different stuff for various people since I woke up, and it's lasted the whole day. Like, I've been working since sun up to sundown here, so I've actually got a professional sculpting job that I'm working on for somebody. It's Cesar Romero, who is the Joker from the 1960s TV show Batman, which is not it's not to be taken serious. It's like that TV show is more like a comedy than anything else. But everybody, I guess, it was a really iconic TV show. Like, everybody seems to even remember it to this day, and remembers, who the characters look like, and with all their crazy makeup and expressions and all. And when I was working on this sculpting job, I had to get reference material for the character. And it's weird to see Cesar Romero without his makeup. And also, the weird part about it is he had a mustache in real life. And when he was the Joker, he never shaved his mustache. They just put white makeup to cover his mustache. Strangest thing ever. And I didn't realize that until I examined his face up close. You had to actually look up close at all the details and everything. So you learn a lot. And you learn about the people, too, when you do sculpting jobs, because you have to do research. And, I mean, you don't have to research about their life or anything, but what I mean is you have to visit different web pages and find out, what year, for example, the picture was taken, because I had to hone in on a 1966 look for him, because when he's younger, of course, he doesn't have the wrinkles and all that kind of stuff. So a lot of times you read and you try to find out, what time period the picture was taken in, and so you learn about the people, and it turns out that Cesar Romero was in one of the early stop motion films. I think it was one of Willis O'Brien's films. What was it like? Was it Lost? The Lost World, where they had those Triceratops puppets, and I had no idea. So I was like, oh, he was in a stop motion film. I had, so you never know. Like, you just run into stuff like that. Because they had like a photo of him with some like long rifle and the stop motion puppets around him, and I'm like, oh wow, that's kind of cool. I mean, it looks, by today's standards, it looks horrible. But back then, that was cutting edge. Stop motion really was the best technology for animating, crazy creatures in a live action film. And only a few people, which is crazy to think, like only a handful of people knew the process really well and could pull that off. Like, Willis O'Brien, Marcel Delgado, Ray Harryhausen, Phil Tippett, Kyoto Brothers to an extent. Like there was a lot of other people that did stuff for feature films, but those were the most prominent ones. I also learned that the brothers Quay were involved in the Peter Gabriel Sledgehammer video. I thought it was simply Aardman and Nick Park, but I was wrong about that. But it's weird, like the little things you run into, like fun facts and things about stop motion just randomly, and I realized a lot of times I don't really know as much as I think I do. I think that there's just so much that you can learn about history of stop motion and the people involved and their stories and whatnot. You can never really learn it all, that's what makes stop motion kind of fun. You don't know, you can never learn all the techniques. You can never learn all the secrets. Does this look okay? It's almost like this clay has a bit of oil in it. I wonder if I mixed mineral oil. I probably did. Maybe I did mix mineral oil on that one. Anyways. I don't really like this one, the way this is coming out. It doesn't have enough of a curve to it here, so I'm going to add some clay on the bottom part. Let's see. Alright, the Kardashian smile. Yeah, this smile is not looking so good, guys. I'm thinking maybe it's because it doesn't have a face, you know what I mean? Kind of struggling with this one. I might do some sketching next week and try and sketch this and get a better idea of what I want to do, because this just looks a bit bizarre to me. I'll save this one, we can maybe use it for something. I mean, I'll photograph it and maybe we can use it, but I think I want a better smile than this. Although it would be unique. I suppose it's not too bad. I don't know. Maybe I'm just criticizing myself a little bit harshly, but alright, well anyways, I'm trying to think if there's anything more to do here. I don't think there is. I think next week we might consider a few more facial expressions, because this is a main character, so I don't want to skimp on expressions. Yep, I guess we'll just wrap it up. Alright, so anyways, I do appreciate you guys stopping by, of course, every week. And if you guys have any questions or comments, feel free to comment in our video below. And I will see you all next time. See you all later.